At the JAX, we are opening a new space, a new area in the city, and it's very exciting to be part of this process of cultural opening. And you send this piece, this proposal, to the open call of BIENALSUR, and we find that this work is very interesting and is very close to the spirit we try to handle in BIENALSUR, that invites people to be part of the process of the artwork. And well, we install your piece in an exhibition, a version of your piece, in an exhibition in Buenos Aires, in La Plata. And now, when we invite you to be part of this ECHO project, you change something and you develop a new version of the piece. Please tell us, what about this new version?
The new version of the piece is, I would like to mark more the difference between when the piece is covered, because you have all this black, most of them, you also have some gold, but most of them are all black, different shade of black. And when you open the fixed part, it's all white. So when you open, the wall disappears more than, for example, the pieces in Argentina. Yes, it's why I chose this, also because I think it's interesting to have more contrast, because for me, Saudi Arabia is a country of contrast also.
Excellent. Very interesting, this paradox between contact and contrast. And you have a piece that looks very, very well in the wall. And how do you imagine the reaction of the public? Because it's not evident that all the people finds that they could touch and remove the covers and change the shape of the piece.
The goal is to play with the emotion of the people, because you know, emotion without a E is motion, so it's movement, so people can move and change. And I play with the surprise, and after you have one surprise, you won't have more. So you try to open others, and after the world changed and something happened, and some questions, some discussion, some lot of participation of the public. It's what I want.
And in that context, what will the people find inside the boxes?
Inside the boxes, they will find, because yes, this species, the name of this species is être au pied du mur. In French, it's an expression of you are in front of your responsibility. And when walls are constructed around the world, as people, sometimes we are part of it, because we are afraid about others people, we are afraid about maybe another country or something else. So when we are part of this, for example, when we have some election or some vote, we choose a person that it's more for wall construction. So in this part, when people open the boxes, they will find some mirror, because the other part of the wall, it's people like us, like another me in the other side of the wall, or some eyes with a lot of expression, with emotional expression, also word of expression and emotional, because when we cross the border, always a lot of emotional things passed, especially for migrants. So it's why I try to interest people on this moment very particular when people change the country or they change their mind. Because for me the most important border are not on the geography, on the cartography, but on the mind of the people.
Sure, sure. When you was talking, I was thinking just that the borders are everywhere, and day by day we decide to cross or not to cross borders. And in this case, the challenge is to find the people who likes to cross the border, to move, to remove the boxes and to change the shape.
Yes.
And well, this is also a challenge for you as an artist, because you present a very open work. You have not the control on the work.
Yes, I know it's something bold, but as I say to the people, I trust. I choose the trust.
Yes, but it's interesting as an artistic proposal. Sometimes the artist produce a piece and the final version is what they modulate or they present. In this case, you present a very well done piece, but it's not the final version.
It's always movement, it's always changing, and yes, and for me it's also very important to do all the pieces by myself, and it's why when the people ask me, but you do all and you let us touch, I say yes. And also it's why I think when people know where is the person and who is the person do the pieces, they change the manner they interact with. They are more careful.
Because in that moment became an artwork.
Yes.
It's interesting. Because it's part of the paradox of contemporary art. We produce most of the pieces here in the spaces for the exhibition, and during all these days, many people were working here, and finally, when the work, the settings were done, became artworks, and nobody touched, nobody. It's interesting this context or this process for contemporary art.
And yes, it's about questioning the value of this, the value of the
it's
gest.
Also a border.
Yes, it's also a border. And I always say to the people when they ask, oh, I can touch, and I say yes, it's about the questioning the value. It's my gest, I don't know or yours, it's more value. The same value, or because I am an artist, my gests are more value, or yours, and this question is really interesting.
And this movement of the pieces in the wall here in Saudi Arabia could be read as a design connected with the architecture and the traditional decorative patterns.
Yes.
But you have another background to do this.
Yes, the idea of this movement, it's pulsation, because pulsation is something related to the earth of everybody, so to life. So it's also about motion, life, and yes, all that things.
Interesting, very interesting. Well, tonight we will see how people react to this
it's really the moment of the artworks begin.
Interesting, very interesting. About this interaction, I've never interacted with your piece, only in La Plata.
Okay. So I invite you to test and try and interact with my pieces.
Okay, let's do it. Where could we start? From here are only black pieces.
So you take and yes, like this, or you can simply also just turn. And you have the sky, and this, it's also because sky is without border. For every people in the world, the sky, it's infinite. Down, it's more like blood.
Blood. It's a dramatic situation. What will we find? And here is the mirror.
And a word in Arabic of an emotion.
Wow.
So, yes. And this you have sandpaper, black sandpaper. So I think it's interesting to have something with sandpaper, black sandpaper.
And
yes, and also a sky.
A sky.
Yes. And you have also eyes.
Another word that tells us about another
emotion. Yes.
And you ask for help to who to write this?
I ask someone to read and to be sure that the word was a good one for the emotion also in Arabic. So it's important.
Yes, sure. Because of that I ask you. And here.
Yeah. And here
again the sky.
And yes, and apart it's more like cotton, like smog, because it's more when you can lose yourself during brouillard in French. You can lose yourself, and when you change country or you pass a border, sometimes you have lots of incertitude on the other side, so it's why also incertitude is a part of.
Wow, and here,
yes,
what is here? I know, yes.
Yes, another
an eye, and another emotion.
Yes.
It's interesting because only the people who reads Arab could understand the whole sense of the.
Yes. But also you have some words in English.
Ah, okay.
Maybe.
Let's find one.
Find one.
Another eye, another sky, and another Arab word. Interesting.
Yes. So maybe me. No, also another.
But okay, it's interesting to not understand.
Yes, also because when we pass a border, sometimes the language is
changing.
And
here we couldn't understand all the things are in the posters in the street.
Yes.
It's very difficult to understand all.
Yes.
It's interesting. It's another border.
Yes.